Hi, this is Sandra K. I'm just getting everything up and ready to see who's all coming in or who's not coming in. One of the two. I said I'd give you a little break, so I has a little break. And we'll see if anybody shows up or not. It says waiting for Sandra K. It's like, no, it's not. Okay, get it going. There we go. I'm just getting my stuff ready. Hi, June. Hi, Darlene. And Linda Denton wanted to learn quilt as you go without sashing. So we're just going to do a quick little thing there. It's like, I got to check this real fast because it's like my sister don't normally send me things. It's like, it's supposed to start raining, it says. Hi, Don Armstrong. And Terry, are you taking your break still? So I'm just grabbing 8 pieces of material, 4 batting, and we will join 4 blocks together. So I'm trying to figure out where to sit things, where to put the camera. My sister is now going to start babysitting her great-grandson 2 days a week. Okay, listen. Okay, do your other stuff. Hi, Bailey. I give you your carrots for being good. But Quilt As You Go does help people that can't afford long arm. They don't want to do the free motion stuff. And I put down 2 of my squares. Oh, never mind. But if nothing else, I'll have a little table thing to put on my countertop to put under a pan. I just grabbed 8 squares of material for the whole thing. I'm hoping Linda Denton doesn't have to watch the replay. But I don't even know what my squares are cut to because it's like that was a week or 2 or 3 or more. The squares are 5 by 5s. So that means I need these to be 4.5 inches. So trim off a 4.5 inch square. Correct. Yes. My grandson must be awake. So I'm going to try to hope some time goes by. Everybody can say their hellos. Nope, Douglas is just now leaving town. Grandson I got to see earlier today. These are some free squares that was given to me when I did the jean quilt. And I had some left. Some of the things we get given. Hello, Linda Denton. I'm just preparing my pieces still. Your batting for your between your blocks and your backing should be 1/2 inch narrower than your said block. It's like, I can put those in the doggy bin. So I'm cutting my batting 4.5 by 4.5 because I'm using a 5x5 square to demonstrate for you. Hi, Ramona. And the fun part is quilting. Because I got to put something on there. Or we have to put something on there to do this project. You guys can all just visit away. I could save these and make those little pin savers. That's another class we need to have. So I'm designating the lights so you guys can see it. I am going to designate that the dark isn't just the back. It's going to be, I'll fix them back and forth. That way you can see a contrast. So these are top, these are bottom. So we just need to sandwich them. Because you got your 1/4 inch all the way around. And then I'm putting opposites on each other. And then you do need to pin. Hi, Sam. Hi, Pam. I was asked to do a quilt as you go with no sashing for putting your blocks together. So that's one. It's just the eyeball thing. Okay, that's the dark blue. See, I already forgot what I was putting where. I'm not good at quilting under the needle, but you want to keep anything you quilt on your block away from the edge. It's like you want to stay 1/2 inch away from your edge. So if you quilt out here just 1/2 inch, I need to be making dresses, but I just got home from visiting my husband and giving him a haircut at the nursing home. And then I had to go to Walmart and pick up. Yeah, your life gets kind of busy, doesn't it, at times? You can sew on the dresses while you listen. We're just company. Maybe that's what you need. Company. And then the blue. But I'm going to put what I want up top. Is he going along with this physical therapy? Or is he saying no to the physical therapy? My mom said no to the physical therapy. Okay, I have to make sure right and wrong. So on Quilt As You Go, with no sashing, you just have your blocks. I could draw all over the front of this if I wanted to make it stand out more. Like it's a finished block. But I'm just going to do a couple stitches around here to hold it in place. And when you quilt on top, you always want to increase your stitches. You don't want to rush, that's for sure. I'm increasing my stitch length to 3.5. And I can kind of see where my batting is, so I'm just going to go around. Because you have to quilt your block to what you want it to be. But you need that little edge. You need this edge for your flipping, your quilt as you go. You need that open. Hi, Melinda. And how are you, Melinda? We're just doing a impromptu. No big plan made. I was trying to decide. I think I'll do. Hope I can do a straight line across. You don't want to take any of your stitchings out in that edge. Because you want it to be able. Hi, Marie. And then I always tie my strings and then hide them back in with a needle. It just gives it a better finished look than back tacking. But go on to the next one. Doing fine. Got my granddaughter who is 2.5 watching you. Okay. I didn't get to see my Alani today. I only got to see Ellen. So I'm going to repeat the same thing on all the blocks. I was going to have them ready before I came on. And then I go, I got to kill time. So just do them while I'm on here. I did, and then I was going to dig out my one quilt out of the closet and didn't do that either. But I showed the table runner the other day. Okay, when I get down to this corner, I will stop, and then I'm just diagonally back through. So on this one, you can see, because we should have quilting within 2.5 inches of each batting has a gap that you can do. Oh, ran out of bobbin thread. Of course. I have it already pre-wound ready here. Clean the machine all up, so when these pre-wound bobbins that I have says time to clean the machine again. I got a cotton ball size length out of 4 bobbins the other day. So restart. I was doing so good on that straight line. So I'll have to pick those stitches out. But that can be done after. You've been auction surfing? That sounds like fun, Lori. There's something you're looking for? Pull that back from the front, thread from the front to the back, tie the knot. There's 2. This one here doesn't show through as easily as the off-white on off-white is. Hi, Maritza. Hola. That's as far as I go. Went back and watched your video. I love that big yarn. All the beautiful colors. When you yes, the colors were very beautiful. Springy, summery, full of life. And back through corner to corner. If you was doing this on your blocks, no, they have the pattern in front of you. So you would quilt accordingly. But when this is done, I'm just going to have a thing to throw on the countertop to put a hot dish. It's better than putting it straight on the counter. Or one giant mug rug. Sometimes I put a larger mug rug. That way, if somebody's here, They can put their cup with mine. Well, you found something anyway. Are the toolboxes useful for your business or your crafts? These are not sure what kind of little bugs these are. They could be dragonflies. Always can have the other two. Okay. I was given a purple one for crafts and I didn't need it. And it was just one of those inexpensive Walmart plastics. I give that to Austin to put his stuff in it. He was trying to organize a toolbox to stay in his car. And he figured if it was purple, no one would bother it. But he might have a point. I have a small purple toolbox. But when I had it in my rig all the time, everybody kept making fun of me. So now it's just my back craft room. Okay, so these are all quilted. And when I connect them together, they're going to be I can either have, that's how I was going to do it. That way, when I turn it over, you can see a contrast. This is the fun part, Linda Denton. When you put these together, you have to pull down your material. Okay. We'll see you later, Pam. You have to pull down your back fabric. Pull your back fabric down and pin it. And means I know one's back and one's front. That way you can sew these two together with no problem. That way you can sew them together with no issues. You can pin these together if you want, or you can just hold them like this and sew. Because you get, that way you always put it on the front because you want the pretty part to be up front. Oh, guess who didn't change her stitch length back down? Because see, that way, when you open it, you have your pretty seams. No, the batting is cut a 1/4 inch all the way around, smaller than your block. So these blocks are 5 inches, so I cut my batting down to 4.5 inches. I catch the edge of my batting, but your batting is caught by that little bit of top quilting we did. So the batting's going to go nowhere. And then at this point, they should just flip in. One flips in and under, and then you decide which one you want to be on top. So, and then you fold that in half, lay it back over top. And this is where a lot of people, they just go back and sew down this. If you catch the edge of the batting a little, you're fine. But then you just turn whichever one you decide you want it to be the top, because the other one's 100% tucked in. You can either hand sew all of this, but being this is a hot pad, I'm just going to go stitch right down. And if you want to make sure that you might catch both, this is where you could do a decorative stitch. And I might do, let's see, is there one that isn't going to take me a country forever? I'm going to do stitch 16 or 17. But if you hand stitch it, you wouldn't see what you're doing. Okay, I'm going to do, it's not the feather stitch. It's another one. It's right next to it. But the feather stitch would be a good one to fill. And if you know where the beginning is and the end is, that's where I should be taking a piece of fabric out of my garbage bin here. One that I can see on. Need something dark. There's as dark as I'm going to get. To see what the pattern looks like. Because I need to know where the edge is. Okay, it's 2 stitches wide. So I just have to, but when you do that, make sure to start your 1/2 inch in. Serpentine stitch would work, but make sure to start your 1/2 inch in because you need this open to do your next row add-on. You always start in, but like where this is the edge, I can go all the way off the edge because if I was to put binding on, the binding would go clear out. So I'm going to start in here where these 2 lines intersect across and go down. So being I know where that sits now. Somebody didn't put her screw all the way in. Hi, Kenneth. And of course, that dime isn't on my table anymore. So I'm going to start this right at that line. And I know where the center of my decorative stitch is. Okay, take my pin out. Yeah. And then you can do your all your blocks in one giant row to cut down on here. Hi, Mary Webb. So on here, Let me get this little piece off of here. If you do row, block after block after block, make one giant row. Hi, Della. That when you go back to join it together, you have one long row to do. So you do your blocks in the short, just put all your blocks together. And again, I take my thread, pull it through to one side to go back and hide it with a needle later. But see, there's my stitch I used. It's not quite a feather stitch. That's that side. And then there's the other side. So it kind of goes down, right down where you want it, connects them. So I'm going to do that again to the other two. That way I can connect these four together. So if you decide like this one here is the prettier side that you want, then you can this is what I classified as my front. And the stitch is close enough to it because it's like when you pin, you're supposed to pin and make sure you're in the same alignment. But I didn't do that. I don't want to cut this thread. I want to tie that knot. That thread, I just want to clip it. It's like, no, don't clip it. And then the borders, you take and lay. Okay, I can show you that real fast too, because I have this one end open. Okay. If you want to take this square and make it wider, you just take, let me grab some material. I thought it was here. Oh, better grab a piece of batting out too. If you want to make your quilt wider, you have the width that you want. If you want to add a border on, you do the same thing, except you take, where's those squares? Let me get some fabric first. Let me grab some fabric. It's like, can't cut it in a ruler without a ruler. Okay. Okay. This is just an example. If you want to, your quilt's too narrow and you want to put a 6-inch border, you put your material right side up, put them together. You do this side. You don't put your batting in yet. After you sew, I have a whole quilt to do this too. It's sitting in the other room. But this is a good quick thing to show you on. Because when you have full size, it doesn't work. So here's how the block is set. It has the border front and back. So you have this thing that's flying. Again, straighten it out, press it out, do whatever color you're doing. This is the back of my quilt. See, on this one, it doesn't matter. Then you take your batting and you butt it right up. Let's go back one step. When you have this way, you can zigzag your batting down on your edge. Zigzag this down on your edge. The biggest stitch or just top stitch. But enlarge your stitch. That way your batting doesn't move. I'm just going to do a quick... So 1/8 inch away. I just attached my batting. Now you take your bottom batting or your border that you're going to add to it. You press that, and then you push this one over and press it. Here's your border with the batting contained in there, and then you can serpentine stitch down this, and out here you can do a base stitch where your binding is going to go back and cover it. So I'm going to press this real fast because I'm going to sew it together as an example. Now I'm pressing it over because I'd rather have some batting sticking out of the border. I did this up to 8 inches wide because if you know your batting needs something every 2.5 inches, then you can just do either a straight stitch, a serpentine stitch, or hand stitch. You can do a zigzag as long as you catch that batting somewhere. So I'm going to serpentine stitch, or I could just come back here, do a straight stitch down this edge here, but I'm going to do the serpentine. I love doing that one. It's a wiggly little bugger, but everything's nice and flat, and if you think it's going to move, put a pin in it. Any questions before I sew this, Linda? Because it's mainly Linda or anybody else if you have questions. But we've connected these blocks together. And this is now making your quilt wider because you got all done and over with. You've got your blocks all put together as quilt as you go. This is how I put my borders on. And if you want another border after this one, trim this down, do the same thing over again. But you can do this over and over and over because your border is going to be so strong. And I haven't seen that I can't find any, but I did this by trial and error because I made a quilt. I did not like the width of it. I says it's too small. So I added the borders this way. I go, we can quilt blocks together. Why can't we add borders? So that one mosaic tile quilt I have, I'm going to put the borders 6 inches out because my long arm can only do 48 inch wide. Well, I wanted it wider than 48. I'd like to have it over 52, 54, 6, you know. But you can do this repeat and repeat. And you can even, if you, like I did row by row, I did the whole row, which was 9.5 by 36. I did the whole row on one solid piece of fabric. When I joined on to the next one, same thing again and again and again. Do you the block border block by block? No, you'll get all your blocks connected together, and then you'll do your border. When you get it all done, you'll go the whole length of the quilt. It's just, this is impromptu, so we have to pretend my quilt's right here. But I love it because it lets us do something on our machine. We can finish it. We don't have to do the hand quilting. We just add to it. It's like I should have did the whole side. And then I'm going to show you, I'm going to go back over here after I do the serpentine, because I want to do the serpentine. And the bigger you increase him, and I just lined my foot up then against this seam that I did here. So yeah, I want to increase the stitches from 1.2 stitch length to the width 5.5. Yeah, hold on thread so it doesn't come undone. I normally have it in the needle down position. But a lot of quilts don't get finished because the handwork, the long arm, or the free motion. And the only thing I do with free motion is bust a lot of needles. I am terrible at free motion. I bust more needles. I love that serpentine. It just adds to it. I cannot pay for quilting, so I want to do the rest of the quilts I'm making this way because all my tops are in totes. LOL. Hate not having my quilts done. Yes. And that's what this has taught me. How I don't have to have a long arm. I saved and saved and saved because I wanted a long arm. And I could only afford the little one. And then 2 years later, they come out with the Moxie that does, it's 8-foot or 10-foot bed. But see, there's that serpentine stitch. Laura, hi. She says, hello, hello. I can type, but I can't talk. Laryngitis. You've got to get better there, Sister Sue. And then if you want to add to your border, like if you got a 6-inch one, you could come out and do that all over again. But being this is just a 2.5-inch strip. So the one thing I did say to do is you come back out here and you just top stitch 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch, whatever you do your binding. Mine's over a 1/4 inch in. You come over here, you just increase your stitch length. Because it should catch both the front and back. Because they're the same exact strips. And then you go back and you trim. Am I going to have to learn sign language so you can show another border? Because I'm not getting that part. So you want me to put another border on a border, Linda? Is that what you want? Okay. Let me grab another piece of batting out of the... I have all sorts of this batting. Okay. We're going to extend this border out with a dark blue if I have one. Oh, I have white and that blue. So it's going to be done with a white. No, don't worry about questions. This is how you learn, because I didn't find any place that could help me. But there's sometimes you want that quilt to be a little bit bigger, and you want to do it all at home by yourself. It's like we want to do our quilts. We don't want UFOs in the closet like I do. Hi, Pamela Eves. At least Laura's here. In chat is better than nothing. Well, this one here is definitely tried because I use it. I have it on several quilts. And it's the one I find that works the best. Okay. So again, right sides, because both sides are right. So right sides to right sides. You can pin it. You can, if you want. But hello, Pamela Eves. And how's Pamela doing? Some of those ways, what makes them puffy or bumpy. I find if you do it in the narrower and then out, I've had no problem with, I think it was 6.5 or 8 on that one quilt. And then I hand quilted it. That was my stupid errors. Your head's just not working. Okay, Pamela. It's a lot of work put on your shoulders after losing your husband. I know what it's like. I did my lawn mowing. I did this. So change my stitch back down to my 2.5. I'm going to sew my 1/4 inch in. It's like on these ones out here, it might feel a little puffier, but it's not that bad that anybody's going to notice. And then some people actually, okay, they'll take and put the batting right next to it. If you do this way, get a school glue stick, because if you think this is getting too thick, you can feel it. You can put your finger over it. If you think it's getting too thick, take school glue, put it on this here material, just butt this batting up to that seam. Just butt it up there. That school glue gives you more than enough time to go back and do your stitch. But if you're working with a white or a light border, make sure your batting goes up and snugs in there, because it can show that little gap of, if I knew where my school glue was. And that keeps it exactly the same thickness all the way out here. Any more questions, Linda? Yeah. But a little bit of school glue on your material will hold that batting in place to where you can go like this. And then definitely pin it to hold your pieces all nice and flat. Yeah, this is Quilt As You Go. Right now, we're doing borders. We joined these 2 blocks. And then we just added border 1. Now we just added border number 2. And out of all the different ways, if you want but you can feel your thickness right there. This is the smoothest way. It's the school glue way. The other way is a little bit thicker because that other batting is pre-existing in there. But to me, this batting we get nowadays is not much. And then again, like here, if you're going to do this border and you're going to use like this serpentine stitch, I would put the serpentine stitch right here to finish off this border. And then you could do it again on this side. But it's just, see right there, I made this little quiltlet that much thicker or wider in that short little thing. So I can serpentine stitch or leaf stitch or whatever stitch down. The only thing you can't do right here is stitch within the first 1/4 inch. You have to make sure to grab that batting by having the batting on top of that. It's already stitched down, so you can go out here any place in there. If you want, you could go right down the middle of each row if they're narrow like this. Any, like more questions? So I'm going to leave those pins there. I'm going to go over here, back up to, don't know what that's there for. Figure out my pattern again. Yes, and then you do that stitch again on that outside edge, add your binding, and you're done. Because see, this is what I called my correct side. And the borders. But I don't trim off the excess batting until after I've did my base stitch to hold it down for the binding. Because this does have to be secured right here. That way that batting doesn't roll. Don't want it to roll. So that batting needs to be, and if I would have known I was going to add a second border, I would probably have started with 6-inch wide binding or batting. I wouldn't have cut it. I would have just sewed my 1/4 inch, left that other one out here, and then just sew these on top. You can also leave that batting as one giant piece. And then Franken batting and white fabric don't go together. I can tell you that. Do not use Franken batting with white fabric. It can show up depending on how you connect it. Okay, I need white there, blue there. Get those little strings down there. Okay, and then I'll repeat for getting your blocks together. Take your what's considered your back, pin that side down. Because then I sew these two together, because that's the top. So if I'm putting two borders on, I can just cut one piece of batting. Yes, you can. You can leave it. If I would have put a bigger piece there, as long as you don't trim, because these pieces are all even, you can just top stitch them down, sew this piece on, and just go. I did that with a whole batting for a row by row quilt. I had the full length batting. I just kept adding the layers, the top layers. I did the whole quilt with one big piece of batting, 36 inches wide, and then added the borders. The more I get into quilt as you go, the more brave I get with trying the next possible step. I get braver and braver to try experimenting. I'm not afraid. Even if you have to use little squares like this to practice. Make a pot holder. Make a mug rug. Okay. Now back to this one. This folds all the way over. Goes clear over to that seam. This time I'm folding the opposite way. And if these keep popping up, you could also pin them. It's like show you ways that makes it easier to get a quilt done. This is the easiest way without getting a long arm involved. I did it with my hand applique. I hand quilted it. So of course, when I did everything else, I had to do it all by hand because it wouldn't look right if I incorporated some machine stitch in there. See, they say if these are lined up right and you put the pin in it, when you go look on the other side, you should be going right down the line. I do on one, but not the other. So that would mean I have to move this a little because it's not in the right spot. But I mean, you could get fussy all you want. Back and forth, back and forth. But I'm just going to go do that stitch again, which was 16. And I don't think I changed any of the length. But I think this is the best one I have, Linda, for putting a quilt together that doesn't involve a lot of handwork. Because this one here you can do all with machine, except for the binding. I can't do the binding. I cannot do the binding without the final one has to be by hand. It has to be. I say my great grandmother would roll over in her grave if she seen me sew that down with a machine. The final step. It's like, I was trying, I broke, I think it was 6 needles when I was trying to do the machine under the needle here, free motion. I'm pretty sure it was 6 needles, and I didn't even get a 12-inch square done. Okay, now I did this. It's like, of course, I sewed the one that I didn't need. So jack the ripper out for a little bit. I was confident I did the right side because I have to loosen these stitches up to that 1/2 inch. Tearing out decorative stitches is harder. More stitches involved. Hi, Mona did what? You checking in on what we're doing? It's like, I know I got to be off here before long. I don't want to interfere with anybody. So again, I'm going to pin these down because this is the back. Just to keep it out of my way, I might have to do one more pin. Because I don't want to press it on the sewing machine, because then that's harder to get out when you want it out. And then this one here, roll it back. Roll this one back. That intersection right there, I'm going to pin that back just because I don't want it to get in the way. And then these here, you line up just like you do any other seam. Line up your colors. Line up out there and do the sew. Can't do that decorative stitch. Get the needle in the proper position. For demonstration purpose on Quilt As You Go, Mona, I'm just doing four squares of material, 4 blocks, and then I did a border. How to put on a border with Quilt As You Go my way. I don't know if anybody else does it. This is how I did it. Hi, Carrie. I wanted a quilt done. I wanted it wasn't wide enough when I was all done and over with. You'll get to see all these strings until I get them hid. But this is the front side. They're now joined. Now I have to take the back side, decide which side. Hi, Sharon. As I take my pins out. Decide which one I'm pushing over. And then bring the other side, fold in half. Fold it in half, pull it over, and pin it. Sam, you like it? It's like it takes a little bit, like a practice with something small. The border, I mean, if you get the small figured out, the border is going to be a breeze. And then just, I mean, this little piece is folded in half, at least a 1/4 inch in. And then it's like, you can't see the borders we added. They're over here running around. See, we added borders when we was all done. And it just makes us get quilts out of the box into the and onto the bed or to the giveaway. Because hand quilting is definitely not for me. I've did it. I don't want to do it again. But I will do all my binding by hand. I will not give up that. But this is why I bought my little long arm. So I could do small quilt tops. And then when it's all done and over with, I have the finished. But if you're not a quilt maker, there's no reason to buy a long arm if you're not going to use it. You haven't tried Quilt As You Go before, Sharon? It's like, I was doing the hand quilting on an applique. But it's like, I'm just adding the other 4 blocks together, Linda. Oh, thank you, Mona. It's like, I see I got one more last night or today or someplace in the mix. Sometimes this center intersection right here is a little bugger to fold, as we could say. At June, you didn't notice I have 331. It's like, yes, I will not. The binding, the first time can be on, the first sew needs to be by sewing machine. But the final has to be by hand. All of it. I can't even do a pot holder by sewing machine. That's bad. And I said, some days my fingers aren't going to allow me to do it. So now I would just do that decorative stitch now, all the way down this. and then it'll be done. The hand binding, oh, Laura, same here. The hand binding, when you're sitting down and you're stitching it, you can remember your whole process of how I picked it, how I planned it, how I did this, I did this, I did this. And Laura, on one of her quilts, her pita quilt, she probably sits there and thinks about how her husband come in and said, move this here, move this here. No, that one goes here, this one goes there. Or her Madonna quilt. It is not the Madonna quilt. When she was doing that, she's probably thinking, Sandra calls this the Madonna quilt. But it's just a thing. Okay, go back to that stitch number 16. It's a little bit close on mine here. I wasn't paying attention. Yeah, but it's the finishing finale to a quilt. It's saying, I did it. I'm almost done. All 4 sides. I'm getting closer. I'm almost done. Yeah, I watch a movie and do my binding. I can even go sit in my bed when I can't sleep. I'll take it in there. And even if I do, 20 inches of binding, at least I got it done. And it put me back to sleep. That little extra eye strain. Pam says she'll have to watch from the beginning. Okay. It was a quick impromptu. I admit that I sewed that one seam a little bit too narrow, but I'm continuing. It's not as wide, but finished is better than hanging in my closet. Needle up. Cut the strings. I have some strings to hide, but there's the little quilted, and then you can use it as a mug rug. And Alani would probably say, these are your color, these are mine, that type thing. But it would cover a good spot. More than 1 cup. I have all my strings. I didn't take time to. And then there's what the borders added on. Now, all I have to do is hide my strings, trim the edge, put binding on, and this is done. And I will do the hand binding. See, I can trim this off and include it under the binding. It's not going to hurt my feelings any. Because all I have to do is go a 1/4 inch out, catch all the batting. Because that's where the batting is, 1/4 inch beyond that. So I'm not going to cut that off quite yet. In case somebody says they want to see something. It's like, but as long as you got your basting stitch out holding the final edge of your batting and everything, Here's everything right up to the edge. And I can put the binding right there on there. And square it up the best I can. It's just a mug rug. When it washes, it changes its shape anyway. Because I don't know which way those material are cut. Because we don't keep track of our scraps, which way they're cut. At least I don't. And I could grab. It's like I could grab some green over there. It's like I don't even care what color I would trim it. And that, it's just a rug. One side's darker than the other, so this would probably be the side I'd have up the most. But that's our impromptu lesson. Pop up and see what we do. It's like, June, are you going to try it now? Because it is easy to do. Laura, you sitting home with your feet in the air? And I suppose Craig's saying, I love it. You can't talk. But you can send text messages to him. And is your cough getting any better? I wish your breathing would get better. June does have a long arm in her basement, not set up. And her family says, no, June cannot go in her basement. They forbid her. But they won't bring it up for her. That's where I need to take a trip to Iowa, and June could have hers upstairs. It's like, who needs a couch? Who cares if family comes over, right? Cough is still with me. Reach back out to the doctor today. Okay. You got to get better there. You can come relax with me in Florida. Hi, Gladys. But it's like, Craig won't come near you. So you afraid he's going to get your bug? I don't think it works that way, but he's keeping you fed, right? I moved my needles so I can't sit there and hide these. No appetite. Well, I hate to say, you have to eat something. Smoothies, protein drinks. But it's like there's no needles here to my hand. Okay, I'm gonna put this up. You guys don't need to see my hands anymore. But I will have a mug rug. I have some lime green. I have some gray. I have a couple different colors of. I have lots of gray up there. She's drinking lots of G2 Gatorade. No problem, Linda. I like when there's something that I taught myself that I could teach you guys. Because that's what we what we like is teaching. You got all your pieces cut out to the test? Gee, we've been live 1 hour 21 minutes. We'll go the next 9 minutes, 9 hours, not. Yes. Terry, I do break needles because I'm pushing too hard. You gotta go get some foodies? I made extra yesterday. I made, well, the meat when it's packaged, which Terry doesn't eat the meat, it's enough to go like 3-4 days for me. Denise, they're going to get there soon enough. Don't push them. Don't push them. She's going to get her 6 and 10-year-old to drive. There's always the replay. And we're going to do this again with more preparation, hopefully, with Kathy. But it's like, luckily I had my lunch today. Or I had a breakfast when I was out delivering formula to Ellen, 18 miles one way away. I just sewed the strap on my cutie GP machine with no name. Okay. Yeah, we got to figure out a good name. It'll come to you. It will come to you. Her green purple. I call it purple green, and she calls it green purple. We can see who puts our color. I put my color first. Hey, my next cat I'm making is green. My my cat holes. My next one's gonna be green in honor of Terry. Purple green. He's like, Terry and I, we know each other's colors. But I was shocked that she did do the purple green. When I go, she better have purple in there. I kept telling myself. I would have been disappointed a little, but green and purple go to good together so well. because I don't think I have any blue binding, and I know I don't have any. So it'll probably end up with that gray. It's like, when you say you're going to end at the right time, it either flies past or takes forever to get there. But I hope this helps some people to push on and get that quilt out of the closet maybe and finished. There's always a way. Okay. Linda Denton sent me a picture of a beautiful cat on a lamp in purples. It's like, yeah, that would be in my room if I wanted another light. But I had my surprise visit today, Ronnie showing up. She said she was coming over someday this week, so when she didn't get here, I figured she changed her mind. Because she said if she didn't feel well, she wouldn't come over. And I says, I'd hope not. Yeah. Yeah. I'm climbing up the totem pole more and more every day. See, now I got to go back and figure out how I'm rewording this. Bye, Mona. Now we got 3 minutes, and then I'll go. Unless, of course, we go over, then it's like I'll be done trying to round it up. But I gotta go check to see if Bailey dug into my flower bed or not. She better not have, but it's like we just gotta find the right content. Is all a person has to do. And someone told me mine was because I have such a wide variety of what I can do. But it's not that. It's just me. Gotta find the right things. Yeah. Terry's will keep growing because there's always people out there buying featherweights wanting to know how can I paint this or who can I take it to? They're always looking for somebody in their area. The last one I seen was anybody near Pennsylvania. There was one for Ohio. Everybody, when they recommend them, they're miles and miles away. But they don't want to, I think they want to be able to take them to them and then pick them up. Because you're sending your baby off with somebody else. Well, we'll see everybody back on Monday over at Kathy Quilts and Crafts. I don't think I'll do a pop-up anything else for the rest of this week. Oh, better not throw that money in the garbage. But it's like, we'll see you on Monday over at Kathy Quilts and Crafts. If you have any questions, if you know my thing, supper time. I have a couple hours yet. It's only 2:38 here. No, Laura, I don't know what to write on the label. I hate making the labels for Nora's quilt. Everything's sitting here. It's all pressed. It's all done. I don't know if I should include the... Why you ask me this now? I wrote, made for Nora for graduating from Florida Atlantic University in Boca Raton, Florida. Made by her grandmother, her American grandmother, Sandra. The pattern is disappearing pinwheel turned to look like candies, machines quilted by me. And it's like, that's all I have. It's on a receipt. Okay, Terry. That's what we do. And you're welcome, Linda. But I hate making labels. Oh, Washington State. Put her Washington State grandma instead of her American grandma. Because some people say you need to include the quilt pattern. And I've never have. I just put the short story, who it's for, what reason, and that's it. But I have the material, starts ready to write on. Oh, I do have 2024. I just put in the year because I'm not sure when graduation date is. So 2024 works. So we'll see you guys on Monday. And Laura, you know my number if you could talk. But I got to get that done. I have a week to get that figured out to get it hand sewed on. Bye, Mary. And we'll see you guys all on pop-ups of Rita's. I know I'm usually there. Or Carrie's. Bye, Carrie. But we'll see you someplace on YouTube land. Because that's the only other way we get to see each other. If it wasn't for YouTube and COVID, what would we have? Bye, everybody.